Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Darren, and in today's video I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the artifact power and changes to artifact power, artifact points, and artifact weapons coming out in patch 7.2. Not a lot of things are changing in terms of complete redesign of artifact power or weapons or how we build up the weapons or anything like that, but there are some changes to make the whole artifact system a little bit better and a more enjoyable experience for players. So I want to talk in this video in the artifact power discussion, the good, the bad, and the grindy. So of course, with all good news should go, and as all news should go, you should start with the good news to brighten up the day. So let's get to it. The good points are artifact power ended up being a pretty good alternative to loot. Like for example, when you're farming the Shah back in Pandaria and it keeps dropping you 23 gold every time, the change to artifact power actually gives you an option. I mean, I can go into BG and get 40 macros, or I can go into BG and get 40k artifact power. I'll take the artifact power, because then at least it's something worth dumping into my weapon, so I get more traits, I get more powerful, I can at least do something with it. So it's like, it's points that are going somewhere, and they don't feel useless. Sometimes they are, I guess, kind of useless because you need so many of them just to fill up one trait for your passive, but at least it's better than just getting some useless items that you'll never use. Artifact power is also a pretty good system for a long-term power gain with noticeable power gains with increased levels. Especially these noticeable power gains happen when you get in your first few traits, like the major traits, that completely change the way your class is played and give you so many cool new abilities, whether it be AoE or single target. It gives you some different playstyle options. And there's also a bunch of minor traits that also change your class, so it's a good idea for a system where just like you continue to grow as a character, because it's basically an infinite system. And it's an interesting design in general, just it's unique to the game. The final trait shouldn't feel mandatory, and that is something Blizzard themselves have stated. The final trait should not feel mandatory, just extra space to throw into your artifact power if you have any. And I'm happy that Blizzard have stated this way, because I felt that as soon as Season 2 dropped, when they actually eventually just cut off the extra passive trait to be not applied, it almost felt like the game might turn into a rat race. Whoever can get to the passive trait gets the most amount of damage, and I feel like that's something that people should work over a long period of time, so then the character feels like they're growing. It's better than just not having any kind of system like that and just be like, alright, you built up your weapon, you're stuck like this, that's it, it's over. So it's a good thing that they continue to explore on the weapon system, but it's good that they also realize that it shouldn't feel like some kind of a rat race to the final trait. Another good thing is the increase of research points and the research that you'll be able to send to your alts, allowing your alts to catch up and allowing you to get through all your traits in 7.2, just so you can unlock everything and have the baseline for everything. So that is, I think, is a good thing, because the faster we can unlock these before the PvP season starts and the PvE changes happen, the better, because then we'll be ready, we'll feel like we have all our tools, and then we can just kind of work on the passive trade in our free time. Now let's talk about the bad. The grind for AP, let me be honest, is pretty intense. Blizzard wants to address the grind in 7.2 a little bit, and that's a good thing, but just the grindiness of artifact power, I feel like there might be I feel like it should be some kind of a reward system. One of the things that I liked about AP, and let's say for example the main quest line when it comes to the Suramar quest line, that at the very end of it all you unlock like what, 740,000 worth of AP in a single quest for completing it. I think they should have more of those kind of reward systems. If let's say you complete the full quest line for your class or your spec, you should get some kind of a crazy big reward. If you were to go and let's say farm a certain quest or just do something magnanimous in the game, that you're rewarded for it, rather than having to be some kind of like a grind that you just have to get on. Because a lot of people do not like the grind. A lot of people like rewards for, let's say, doing something complex or something difficult, but not a lot of people enjoy the grind. Every MMO has a grind of its own, but not every player enjoys the grind, so I feel like there definitely needs to be options for players. So you don't really need to make the whole grinding easier, you just have to make alternatives for players that don't just want to sit there and grind world quests all day long or run mythic dungeons back to back to back to back. And also, one of the things that Blizzard decided to do is that they want to make you feel pressured to grind up your weapon, which is a good thing. It's just like, this whole system has been grindy, and here they're saying that I want you to feel pressured that you have to grind your weapon, and it's like, I don't think those two can kind of like, it's like you made a system that's grindy, but you don't want it to be grindy, but like, I don't think that can exist with AP. Honestly, could be wrong. So that's kind of what I count as the bad of the news. We talked about the good, we talked about the bad, which are my opinions of the good and the bad. Now let's talk about the grindy. And this is kind of like when I'm not sure what to think of it, so I'll let you guys decide in the comments what to think of this. They are thinking of adding a diminishing returns to progression of AP farming in 7.2. So let's say if you're farming a ton of AP, they want to add a diminishing returns, so then at one point it feels less productive to just farm AP. So let's say somebody wants to really get all the traits for the weapon. To me, it sounds like if somebody wants to get all the traits and unlock just to be maybe to be competitive, maybe to get ahead of the competition, and they want to, let's say, farm Maw of Souls, Keystones, and get the 3 chests back to back to back. If they're going to be putting a cap on artifact progression, that means people that want to get ahead might not be able to get ahead, and I'm not really sure how severe of farming are they talking about. Are they talking somebody who's just farming a whole day, just back-to-back keystones like a madman, or are they talking about like somebody who's just doing their dailies with AP and is thinking of just doing one extra dungeon just to get a little bit extra AP out of it for the day? I don't really know the severity of it, so I guess we'll just have to see. But what are your thoughts on the diminishing returns? Another thing is, Blizzard themselves have stated, invest into the weapon, not the character. And this is something players have talked about before. Like, what if you were able to kind of like put AP into the character, and when you get your character to a certain amount of AP, you get to unlock parts of your weapon. So you can kind of unlock multiple weapons at the same time, instead of having to put AP into one weapon. I mean, at this point, a lot of people have one weapon at least complete, maybe not all the points into the passive trait, and maybe they have a second weapon complete, maybe a third weapon kind of started and halfway there, or even fully complete. If you're like me, you have one weapon fully maxed out, a second weapon starting to put a few points into the passive trait, and a subtlety weapon fully unlocked and with 1 point into the passive trait. I mean, that's where you're kind of just trying to figure out, like, is this a system that people want? Maybe we should go back to talk about the character instead of the weapon. Maybe it's good for because it has class identity. Because there's the benefits and negatives of this. Class identity is one of the benefits. You get to decide which class and spec you want to play. You have spec identity. You're an Outlaw Rogue. You're not like a Subtlety or an Assassination Rogue. You're an Outlaw Rogue and bring Outlaw Rogue things to the table. But what if your spec sucks and nobody wants to play with Outlaw? That's where you kind of start to run into issues, and it might be easier to allow players to put artifact points into the character rather than the weapon, so then it's a little bit easier because people can get a bit more fluid with it and have a little more flexibility, so they're not completely shafted. Because what if the spec sucks and then they're like, okay, well, it sucks, I quit the game, and then just kind of have a mask. I don't even know. This is the part that I'm not sure about either. So what are your thoughts on diminishing returns, and what are your thoughts about the motto of invest into the weapon, not the character? This has been it for me, guys. Thanks so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think about the discussion video for this today. I'm gonna go record a few videos from here on, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like if you want to support the channel, and I'll see you guys later.